off the board. I'll take the a-pawn off the board, and you'll be pushing the h7 pawn. I'll be pushing the queenside pawns, and we'll see who gets to the finish line. And on the next board, please.
Next board is Adiban Baskuran against Tersa Hakian. There's no attack. Remember this queen on h3 when white was trying to do something, try to get to the pawn on h7, try to touch it. Nothing like that happened. So Tersa Hakian made a beautiful maneuver. Look at this, knight e5, knight g6, securing the king. This already signals
solid.
Nothing, nada. There's nothing gonna happen there. So here he already had to accept the defeat and improve the queen to a better square. And he got d4.
And he got d4. Okay, so I am assuming knight. We now go knight takes f4, knight takes f4, c5 takes d4, and I'm assuming we put our bishop. Well, where do we put our bishop? Back to d2?
Something is not right with white's position, because I'm looking at the black's position. His piece placement is pretty harmonious, right? Okay, bishop on b7, maybe bishop d6 or c5. We're going to figure it out. But look at white's pieces, right? I mean, everything feels a bit, cramped. Cramped. I mean, it's not ideal. The bishop on b1 should be standing on d3 to block the pawn on d4.
Clear.
Knight on f4, what's he doing there, really, right? I mean, maybe some cheap loss.
I can, if we just continue the line for just a moment, bishop to d2, bishop to david 2. Again, I'm thinking that the knight on f4, as you described it, is like misplaced. Maybe it will find a good square on d3, and on a very good day, I get to go queen c7 and trade off some of my cramped pieces. I do feel it's a little bit unpleasant for white.
There's a party right there at the queen side, right?
I know.
Everybody is there. Everybody is there. So I think this is a good signal to start to go at the king, right? So while everybody's tucked away at the queen side, you want to remind white, listen, you have your issues here at a king side.
Right. And these are the types of things that black starts thinking about. Queen g6 and
right. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Fourth board, Robert Karfkanisian against Runa.
We'd like white literally out of the opening, and we still like white. In fact, no moves, so I suspect there's just a little bit of a transmission delay going on at this point.
I think if this was Karfkanisian's plan to get this kind of position after the opening, it's a complete success, right?
Yes,
so
precisely.
This is something you can play forever. 100 moves, there's no risk for you unless he's somehow gonna blunder an exchange sacrifice of d4, which, I don't see how he can miss that, and then black is somehow dominating with the bishop on a-pawn. This is a very ugly position for black. The bishop on b4 is protecting the pawn on d6. Also, black needs to address the weaknesses of the king side.
Yeah.
Doesn't look good. There was, by the way, Yasser, there was a suggestion from the chat to check Eric Hansen's game.
Absolutely. Eric and I go way back with the chess bronze, as Eric was like a pioneer in the world of streaming, and he just opened up a whole new world for our beloved sport. White sacrificed in exchange, but
For the
got
second day in a row.
two healthy pawns. The pawns on b3 and e4, and that anchored bishop, more than sufficient compensation for white. I was going to say, is it? Yeah, this is how it goes.
So they got it. That looks a bit complicated sequence. White takes the pawn. Black says, okay, it's going to cost you an exchange. White says, okay, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
So he has two pawns. Visually, I like white more.
Absolutely.
And e4, beautiful move, centralizing pieces, g6. Well, again, I mean, it's the second day in a row for Eric, because it was yesterday, right? Against Anish Giri, when he allowed this exchange sacrifice on c6, which felt very natural. But then again, you started to ask this question, I mean, why do you need this? Why? And again here, this looks pretty forced. All of this sequence, I mean, he wanted this. He
provoked
played
it.
94 rookie. He wanted this. He evaluated this to be good, and Diak said, "Okay, I mean, let's do it, right?" So this is quite straightforward line, and the big question then is how do you evaluate it? Because it's not really so simple. Bishop and 2 pawns, they're slightly superior to the rook, but there's some other elements like the king safety, the piece placement. I'm not sure what Eric missed here. I would definitely prefer white.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of any variation that you calculate this position, you calculate to the end of, let's say, forcing round, and at the end you have a judgment call to make. Is this position that I visualized good for me as compared to this position on the board at the moment? If that line of play works out in my favor, I'm going to go there. And that's a question of judgment. That's one of the things where, a lot of people can calculate very, very well, but then at the end, their judgment is impaired and they make the wrong judgment that, no, this position is great for me. Eric seems to be overestimating the exchange. He did it again in the game with Anish, and I think he's doing the same thing today. He likes the rooks. We all like rooks. But this looks like a position that's favoring the bishop. I mean, I love this idea of just going king g2, h4. The reason I go king g2 and h4 as white is it just secures everything around the king. There's no queen f3s. There's no back rank mates. There's no weird things happening with queen h3 or queen f3. So I'm just kind of chill. And then the next thing I do is I go my bishop on d5 controls the a8 square. Yay! I'm going to create a pass pawn.
That's a very strong bishop. Yeah, so simple plan, organize a pass pawn at the queen side.
Right. And with the support of the bishop on d5, I'll push them, baby, for all they're worth. So king g2, h4, and then let's go on with business by advancing the pawn. Now, in the meanwhile, Eric should recognize that his bacon is getting cooked. And he needs to play, and I'm not kidding, he needs to play the move black rook to c2. In other words, the black rooks need to coordinate themselves, and you want to trade off a rook, and you want to create your own counterplay against the f2 pawn. If Eric doesn't get his rooks into play, and I don't know how he's supposed to do it, should he go rook e7, rook takes d5, rook e2? He needs to get counterplay before it's too late.
I don't see how he can get the rook on c2 unless he's going to make 3 moves in a row.
Yeah. Well, I would probably start with something like rook on d8 to d7, queen to e5, rook to c7. That kind of thing. I mean, I gotta challenge the open c file. I mean, the rooks need open files. That's why they're rooks. And if Eric doesn't do that, he's going to be suffering.
Right. All right. While Eric here is suffering and Yak is playing another beautiful game, and to remind you, couple of days ago, the young Romanian grandmaster crossed 2700 ELO in live rating list. He's only 20 years old, very talented, hardworking lad from Romania. So bright future ahead for Romanian chess. So let's jump in. I think I want to check if this game is finished already. Anish Giri against Badur Jabava. Remember this beautiful exchange sacrifice? It feels really fitting because Anish was playing yesterday against Eric, where he sacrificed an exchange, and today Anish is again in the sacrificing spirit. Another exchange sacrifice on the board.
Looks really, really good for white. In fact, when we left it, it looked so good. I'm kind of amazed that Jabava has fought his way to a position, because really we left it. We saw this move queen f4 by Anish. It was hitting a pawn on queen f. Yeah, it was queen f4, right? It was hitting a pawn on d6.
Yeah.
It was hitting a pawn on the king side, like maybe g4. Yeah. Right here after queen f4, I just thought, oh God, how do I even survive? And this is how we see Jabava surviving.
No, it's not surviving. It's
suffering.
I mean, he's suffering. Clearly, Anish here is not going to play e7 because this is where maybe a less experienced player would play e7 automatically, and he would be very happy to win the exchange. But we already discussed with Yasser, this knight on d5, it's already worth a rook, if not more.
It's a beauty.
Powerful combination.
And we don't want to allow rook takes c4, which fully explains why Anish played the move rook f4. And in his mind, Anish is thinking that he's just going to go king takes h3 and then kind of escort the pawns up the board. And, that's going to be a grisly fate. Yeah.
It's a six one because there is no king g7. As soon as you play king g7, I play f6. That's it. Right. You're done. You can do that. King g6, f7, e7. These pawns start marching forward. You cannot play king g8 because that is just a useless move. I can just take it. I can give a fork, whatever you want. These pawns are not going anywhere. So I don't think Badur can really trade the rooks. But what can he do? Because h5 is king h3. No, that's it.
That's it. By the way, Snack Bandit has a kind of a comment there from chat. Magnus and Smirnov versus Carlsen is equal. So I guess that means that Carlsen is completely winning. And that's exactly the way I felt, Snack Bandit. I was far too optimistic in my view. So, like, for example, I'm black. And I play really good game, whatever, and I equalize. The moment I equalize, I think I'm better. Why? Why do I think I'm better when I equalize with black? Because of the trend, right? The trend's in my favor. You follow me, right, Archers? You get it? Like I started, I was a little bit worse, but now it's equal. I must be better. The trend goes.
Wait. I don't say this is equal. Just a second.
What?
I think Magnus here needs to be careful because look at the position.
Why is this equal? Why?
It's not
Magnus is up 2 pawns.
No. Wait. His king is in danger, so I see that the white king is secured. So there's no a5, b4 ideas. The action of the queen side is closed. So if he pay attention to a couple of moves here. So look at this.
Okay, this is where we left it, in fact.
Yeah, this is where we left it. Knight e2, insisting on the pawn grab on g4, knight g3. This is a very common idea of the Sicilian dragon, and I think that Anton knows this. He has definitely studied Sicilian dragon. He thinks if this is applicable here, so you sacrifice 2 pawns, get to the black king, and I don't think that Magnus really likes this. I mean, maybe he's confident in his chances, but this means that Smirnov is meaning business here. He's gathering all the pieces towards the black king. I'm seeing moves like rook g1, getting the pawn on g6. I see moves like knight f5. There's a dangerous attack.
Oh, no question about it. The attack's very dangerous. When I saw the chat question comment there, I was thinking that the position was equal, not that the position was, a mess with imbalances, material imbalances, and like you just pointed out, king position, dangerous kind of king position. Well, and now that we are on Magnus's game, our producers have created a very nice profile about the Norwegian team. Let's have a look at our profile.
The Olympiad is the ultimate team competition in chess. However, Norway's chances for medaling for the first time likely rest on the shoulders of one player. That player also happens to be the reigning world champion, Magnus Carlsen. Carlsen will be in Chennai to represent Norway for the first time since 2016. Inevitably, he is key to a potential Norwegian success story. If Team Norway is to find a spot on the podium, or even shock the world and win it all, Carlsen must dominate. Still, even a dominant world champion will need help. Fortunately for Norway, the supporting cast is the strongest that it's ever been. Arjen Tari, the 2017 World Junior Chess Champion, is one of the world's top 100 players and will play the second board for Norway. Tari was just 14 years old when Carlsen became world chess champion. But now, though young, he is an experienced competitor and a valuable Norwegian star. Also representing Norway's post-Carlsen generation are Johann Sebastian Christensen and Frode Urkedal. They too were but teenagers when Carlsen reached the pinnacle of individual chess. Now they must hold their own if Norway is to reach the top of team chess. Jon Ludvig Hammer, Carlsen's longtime friend and a former 2700 player, rounds out this exciting team. Hammer also has been a valued second to Carlsen in some of his greatest successes. The Norwegians have never medaled in the Olympiad, but this year, Norway is seeded third. With their high seeding comes high expectations of taking home their first medal.
Well, that was a great profile of Team Norway while we were at it. Anton gathered courage and pulled knight of 5, immediately going after the world champions king. The bar says, no, sir. I mean, it's not working, but to be honest, it looks incredibly scary. But now that we are talking about Team Norway, I mean, they have a very impressive lineup, right? So, number 3 seeded, thanks to obviously the huge boost of the world champions, highest rating in the history of chess, 28, whatever rating is right now, 64. He was highest ever at 2882, highest rating ever. Now he has got support, which is Aryan Tari, the rising star. I think it's only a matter of time when they're going to get to when he's going to get to 2700. The ever experienced Jon Ludvig Hammer, he was 2700 before. The young guns like Christensen and Urkedal. I mean, it's a very impressive team.
No question about it. These young Norwegians, well, I mean, they're inspired by Magnus Carlsen. Let's be frank. World champion like Viswanathan Anand inspired generations of Indian players, and we're seeing those seeds that were planted as soon as 2030.